Hello, my name is Kirk Evans, and my research and presentation today is on informal science institutions and how they provide valuable professional development opportunities for teachers and educators. Informal science is often overlooked as a productive way to build teacher knowledge and skills. Aster Jack and his colleagues in 2007 found very few studies on informal science institutions and professional development. And so that's why I wanted to spend some time digging into this research. And at this point, I feel the same way. But there's more research to do. There's more things to find out. So my goal for this research was to show that informal science institutions provide productive professional development opportunities for teachers. They promote social learning, and it's inquiry, learning, and teaching, and real-life hands-on experiences. So my guiding question was, among science teachers, is there a correlation between participation in informal science professional development, perceived level of content knowledge, and pedagogical competence? First, let's define informal science education. And what I did was use Rennie's 2007 definition, where Rennie wrote that learning that takes place outside of the formal school setting is informal science. It could happen at museums, science centers, science camps, after-school science programs, zoos, aquariums, botanical gardens, interpretive nature centers. But I think one of the most important things is, just recently, is internet, television, and film have changed the way teachers teach and students learn. So in the bottom left corner, that's the Google headquarters. And then another slide, there's the Apple headquarters. And I think organizations such as those have had a tremendous impact on the way teachers teach and students learn. And it is in an informal way if we look at internet, television, and film as a way of teaching and learning. Holliday and Lederman in 2014 estimated there were 2,500 informal science institutions in the United States that served 75% of the schools and school districts, teachers, and students in some educational capacity. 27,500 K-12 teachers participated in professional development in informal science, and 40% of those were elementary school teachers. I use the definition of professional development of Locke's, Horsley, Hewson, Loves, and Stiles. They define 7 effective features. One is teachers in leadership roles. The second one was teachers and educators learn other parts of the educational system. It helps teachers build content and pedagogical content knowledge and examine their practice. It's research-based and engages teachers as adult learners. It allows teachers to collaborate with colleagues and experts. It's based on student learning data, and it's driven by well-defined, effective classroom teaching and learning. So the first focus was social learning and how it's important in professional development. And I took the ideas from Vygotsky's social constructivist theory. So Powell and Kalina found that social constructivism is a highly effective method of teaching because of collaboration and social interaction that's incorporated in the ideas that are constructed through this interaction between individuals and their social interaction. Kim wrote that social constructivists view learning as a social process, and then it's meaningful, and it occurs when individuals are engaged in social activities. Again, Holliday and Lederman found that when visiting informal science institutions and their exhibits, social interaction is imperative, either through the content or the conversations you have at the centers. The other part of my research was hands-on inquiry-based opportunities. Reidinger and colleagues in 2010 found that informal science education for teacher preparation was very valuable in its opportunities to provide strategies for hands-on and inquiry-based science. And they found that through these teaching practices in museums and centers, science-guided teacher candidates implemented hands-on activities in their classroom. Smith, McLaughlin, and Turnicliffe wrote that constructivist pedagogy in zoo content for teachers, also in this professional development setting, provided positive effects for teachers' instructions and what happens in their classrooms. So the purpose of my study was to determine the relationship between teachers' perceived content knowledge and teachers' perceived pedagogical competence in 3 different locations, or 3 different types of informal science professional development. So I used the Tallis Teacher Questionnaire from 2013. And I used, and I'm excited that in 2018, another Tallis Teacher Questionnaire is coming out. So the research and information from this teacher survey is going to be more up to date. But in this questionnaire, it's an international study of teachers' teaching and learning environments. Over 14,000 teachers from 34 countries participate in this questionnaire. The questionnaire is coordinated by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So my method, my Tallis questions were question 13. In your teaching, to what extent do you feel prepared for the elements below? Content and pedagogy. And then the other question was question 22. During the last 12 months, did you participate in any of the following professional development activities? If yes, how many days and did it last? So there were 3 areas to look at there. And one where you participated in professional development was at educational conferences and seminars. Did you observe or visit business premises, public organizations, or non-governmental organizations? Or did you participate in in-service training at the same areas, business premises, public organizations, or non-governmental organizations? So using this Tallis data in SPSS, what I found was, yes, participants, there was a positive correlation for content knowledge and pedagogical practices for in-service trainings at businesses. So in other words, informal trainings at places where informal science occurs. It was positive correlation in content and pedagogy. And here are the tables from SPSS. And then the second question what had to do with educational conferences and seminars. And there was a correlation, and significant correlation, in both content and pedagogy in those areas, and teacher perceived knowledge. And so the third question had to do with observation visits at businesses or organizations and that perceived level of knowledge and perceived pedagogical practices. And there were significant correlations in content, but there was a negative correlation that wasn't significant in pedagogy. So here are the tables that from SPSS that would go with that research. So what I found out was there are limitations to Tallis data. It doesn't factor what type of professional development occurred for teachers, and perceived level of content knowledge and pedagogical competence is subjective to every teacher and their individual response. But through a theoretical lens, what I believe I found is that providing teachers with professional development away from traditional educational settings offers tremendous learning experiences and opportunities that influence the teacher knowledge and teacher pedagogy. Duran and colleagues in 2009 shared the findings from Falk and Durkee and how they found that they interviewed participants who had gone to informal science settings to learn as students, and they found 100% of these individuals they interviewed remember at least one thing during that experience in an early elementary school field trip. And most remember 3 or more in the years after those field trips occur. So if it's valuable to students to participate in informal science, we know that it shows that, and this research shows that it's valuable for teachers to participate in informal science in settings outside of formal education. So the references I have for my presentation are here. I would like to leave with, absolutely, I think teachers get great experiences in informal science institutions and the professional development they offer. Either it's to gain content or pedagogical competence, but the value for this to occur can change the way teachers teach and how students learn. Thank you.